In the aftermath of World War II, the Korean peninsula was divided along the 38th parallel, Soviet forces in the north, U.S. forces in the south. By 1950, two rival governments claimed legitimacy over the entire peninsula, tensions rising amid the broader Cold War struggle. On June 25, 1950, the North Korean People's Army, equipped and trained by their Soviet allies, launched a surprise offensive across the 38th parallel. Swiftly overwhelming South Korean defenses, they surged southward, capturing Seoul and pushing the defenders to the southeastern tip of the peninsula. By summer, South Korean and fledgling UN reinforcements were cornered in the Pusan perimeter, a desperate defensive line in the southeast. Momentum favored North Korea, but relief was on the horizon. Then, in a daring maneuver, General MacArthur executed the Incheon landing in September 1950, linking up with UN and South Korean forces. They recaptured Seoul and drove northward, crossing the 38th parallel yet again. UN forces continued their advance all the way to Korea's northern border, so close to a decisive victory, but underestimated the looming threat from across the Yalu River. As the UN forces neared the Chinese border, hundreds of thousands of Chinese troops, China's People's Volunteer Army, stormed across the Yalu, launching a massive counter-offensive that rolled UN forces back in a brutal winter campaign. By 1951, the front stabilized around the 38th parallel. What followed was years of trench warfare, heavy bombardments, and grinding attrition, with neither side able to seize the upper hand. During the conflict, the UN unleashed a massive bombing campaign over North Korea. Nearly 85% of the North cities were destroyed by 635 tons of bombs, including napalm, leaving widespread devastation in its wake. After years of grueling fighting, an armistice was signed on July 27, 1953. A demilitarized zone was established at the 38th parallel, yet a peace treaty was never concluded. The conflict froze, leaving a divided peninsula and millions of lives irrevocably changed. The Korean War, often called the Forgotten War, was a tragic, pivotal chapter in Cold War history. Rapid advances, bold strategies, brutal winters, fierce counterattacks, and the shadow of nuclear-age geopolitics shaped a conflict that remains unresolved to this day. The maps and millions of soldiers mobilized tell that story every day,